going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome here today to me reacting to the second presentation or the second returns of the 2021 NBA All-Star voting. We'll be talking about if I agree with some of the positions of these players, if I disagree, do I think there should be anybody not here in the top 10 of their respected position in the conference that should be and that shouldn't be. So if you guys enjoyed the videos, feel free to drop a thumbs up on this video. I also dropped a mock draft over on my NFL channel. Link to that will be in the description if you want to take a look at that after this video. But won't waste any more of your time. Let's get into this. So Western Conference front court. The top three players I see are the three players that I have in there. I don't really care about the order. LeBron, Jokic, and Kawhi. Those are my three Western Conference All-Star starters in the front court position. So I'm perfectly fine with that. Moving on to Anthony Davis at 4. Has he played like the fourth best player in the Western Conference front court? Probably not. I would maybe say Paul George has had slightly better year, but he's been dealing with some injuries, and I'm fine with AD being 4. I think he should at least make the All-Star game. Paul George, he should make the All-Star game. And then it gets a little interesting. We have Zion, we have Andrew Wiggins, we have Christian Wood, Brandon Ingram, and Carmelo Anthony. So I love Carmelo Anthony. You guys know that. The first ballot Hall of Famer in my eyes. He was literally brought me the most enjoyment as a Knicks fan that I've ever had. He should not be there in the top 10. He had a great game against Philly last night, but he should not be here in the top 10. I like to see Ingram and Zion. I know a lot of Warriors fans are pushing for the Wiggins love. I personally think Wood and Ingram are having better years than Wiggins. And you know who you are in the comments. You'll get mad at me for saying that, even though it is true. Those three players are having better years than Andrew Wiggins, but Andrew Wiggins is having a fine year. So if you want to put him at 9 or 10, sure, you could do that. So I don't really have any gripes with the players that are in the top 9. I would probably, remove Carmelo Anthony, put in Rudy Gobert. You could also have some other players that have been having respectable years. Well, I mean, Cat isn't going to play enough to be in the front court voting. And Kristaps, I mean, he's having a better year than Melo, so he should be in there in front of Melo. But I think, like, Mikal Bridges deserves some love for his defensive, offensive play this year. But I would have Rudy Gobert there at 10. The Jazz, best team in the NBA record-wise, I believe, unless that changed last night. But yeah, I would have Rudy Gobert there in at 10, at least, at the minimum. Honestly, well, Wood might fall out because he will be hurt, but we'll see about that. So on to the Western Conference side of things. The top 3 guards, I am cool with. In the top 4, I think that should be it. I think the top 3 are in perfect order: Steph, Luka, and Dame, and I'm perfectly fine with Donovan Mitchell being at 4. Ja Morant at 5. Okay, I still see Klay. Okay, so Devin Booker at 6, Chris Paul at 7, Klay at 8, CJ McCollum at 9, and Alex Caruso at 10. So yeah, there's a lot of problems with that. I'm perfectly fine with Ja, Devin Booker, and yeah, I'll give Chris Paul some top 10 love, sure, but he'd be more towards 10 for me. But he should be in there. McCollum should be in there, definitely, the way he played, but his injury, I don't know if he'll have enough games to really qualify, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But there's 2 ones that obviously should not be in there. Klay Thompson hasn't played a single game this year. He was there last time in the voting, the first return at 10. And I thought people would be like, okay, yeah, but that's a joke. Joke's over. Let's start voting some people that actually deserve it. And no, he's still there. And Alex Caruso obviously does not deserve to be there. Notable guys that were left off that list that should be replacing those 2 players: De'Aaron Fox, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Malik Beasley, DeMar DeRozan. All 4 of those guys have credible say to be in there. Even like D'Angelo Russell over Caruso and freaking Klay because he's played. You could literally have Tyrese Halliburton over Klay Thompson and Alex Caruso. He doesn't deserve to be an All-Star game, but neither do those 2 players. It really is a shame to guys like Shai and De'Aaron Fox that deserve to be in there, and they are not, because you have Klay and you have Caruso, because the Warriors have such a big fan base, and so do the Lakers, so they're just spam voting those players. So yeah, I disagree, but that's a very easy disagree with those. So yeah, those are my only gripes, so remove Melo, put in Gobert, and then remove Klay and Caruso, and probably put in Shai and De'Aaron Fox. So moving on, or maybe DeRozan, but I'd probably pick Shai and De'Aaron Fox. So moving on to the Eastern Conference front court, we got KD, Giannis, and Embiid. Those are my 3 Eastern Conference front court starters, so perfectly fine with that. Also, back on the Western Conference here, it'll be interesting to see which one of these guys don't get the starting position. I think it will be Lillard not making it. In my All-Star starters, I tweeted out a little bit ago, I had Luka and Steph, and in my video on my main channel, I had Luka and Steph, so yeah, we'll see if Lillard ends up making it as a starter over Luka, because I think Steph has a lock. So yeah, these are my 3 front court guys. KD's obviously more popular than Embiid. Embiid's having the better year out of all 3 of these guys, but that's how it should be. So I'm good with that. Tatum at 4. He's missed some time, but I'm good with that. Jimmy, Bam, Sabonis, Randall, Hayward, and Jeremy Grant. So, it's tough. Like, there is going to be such a cluster in the Eastern Conference that a lot of players that have been playing phenomenal this year aren't going to make the All-Star game. Like, maybe Julius Randle, Jeremy Grant, Gordon Hayward, they won't be making it. So, it is tough. I don't think I would have 2 Heat in there. I think I would have Bam. I don't know if I would have Jimmy Butler in there. He has missed some time. He wasn't playing phenomenal. He's been better as of late. But, yeah, you're also... It's tough because a lot of those guys do deserve saying. It's not like there's a crazy one in there like a, who is it, Melo, or like a Caruso or a Klay Thompson. But I would also... You're leaving out Vucevic, Tobias Harris, Chris Middleton, Lauri Markkanen deserves some love, and Pascal Siakam. So it's tough because this isn't as bad as the Western Conference that we saw in the front court or the backcourt. But you'd like to see, I don't know, more than 10 guys get some love because, like I said, Vucevic, Harris, Siakam, Middleton, Markkanen, they've all been playing like all-stars. Maybe Markkanen not as much, or like John Collins as well, so maybe more on Middleton, Vucevic, Harris, and Siakam, because Siakam has been phenomenal as of late. Like, yeah, I would remove one of the Heat players and throw in either Siakam, Vucevic, or Middleton, or Harris. One of those 4 players, just all 4 of them not being on here. It's tough. It's a good Eastern Conference front court this year. Like, it's not as bad as the Western Conference one is. It really isn't. So, moving on to the guards. Beal and Kyrie are your backcourt. James Harden, Jaylen Brown. You have Zach LaVine and Trae Young. I think that should be the top 6. I'm pretty sure that's what it was in the first return. So, I am completely fine with that. Sexton at 7 is interesting. I'm fine with him being in the top 10, though. Definitely fine with that. D-Rose should not be in the top 10. He's been fine this year, but not top 10 all-star good when you're going to have some guys not making it that maybe should. You got Russell Westbrook in there. I would not personally have Russell Westbrook in that voting, but obviously he's a popular player, so he'll be in. And you have Fred VanVleet, who has been better as of late, and the Raptors have obviously been better since their poor start. But it isn't like the Eastern Conference backcourt isn't, or the guards, isn't as loaded as like both the front courts. It's probably the least loaded column here, because you're missing out on Malcolm Brogdon. I would have Malcolm Brogdon over there in front of Derrick Rose. You're also missing out on players like Terry Rozier and Kyle Lowry, but they don't really need to be in there. So honestly, you could move Russ to 10 if you want, and then just drop Sexton down a place, and then put at number 7 Malcolm Brogdon. And I think that Eastern Conference guards would be fine. Like, I'm not really crying or begging to put Kyle Lowry in there. It's not like he's had that great of a season. Or Terry Rozier. There's these notable snubs in here as well. And also maybe DeJounte Murray for like another Western player. But maybe definitely not over Shea or De'Aaron Fox. But yeah, so for the Eastern Conference, I would, like I mentioned, I would move Sexton down to 8. I would swap Russ and Fred VanVleet, and then I would remove D-Rose. So you move Sexton down to 8, Rose up to 7, but remove Rose and plug in Malcolm Brogdon. That should be there, but obviously he plays on not the most popular team, a small market or mid-market team like Indiana, and he's not really a popular player. It's not like you're seeing this dude all over social media and stuff like that. Pretty quiet dude, and he's been playing like an all-star this year. So we'll see how many Pacers get in. If it'll be Sabonis and Brogdon, neither one of them end up making it. But yeah, you guys can let me know what you agree with or what you disagree with in the comments down below. Was there any player I left out that you think should definitely be in that top 10? I mentioned as many honorable mentions that I think should be honorable mentions. Like, I wasn't going to put in Karl Anthony Towns as an honorable mention too much, even though I did mention his name because he hasn't played that much this year. And there's some other players down the line that you could say, oh, maybe it could be all-stars. Like, I didn't mention OG Anunoby, but, like, you know why I didn't mention OG Anunoby. So, yeah, that is going to be for me. Drop a like if you guys did enjoy it, like I mentioned just a little bit ago. Let me know in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with, because I know a lot of people are going to disagree with. Probably this player right here, D-Rose, shades of 2019, 18/19. Caruso, Thompson, and Melo, those 4 players I don't think should be in there. So, yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.